Donald Trump's Friday night turned into a stunning display of internal revolt within his once loyal MAGA circle as one of his most devoted allies publicly broke ranks. What was supposed to be a quiet evening filled with strategy discussions and private fundraising turned into a firestorm of political chaos. The shift came unexpectedly, shaking Trump's inner circle and sending tremors through the Republican Party's base, already struggling to maintain unity amid mounting scandals and campaign turmoil. Sources close to Trump described the mood at Mar-a-Lago as tense and erratic. Trump, who had been preparing to deliver remarks to donors, reportedly received word that a key MAGA loyalist had not only withdrawn their public support but also criticized the former president's leadership style in a lengthy social media post. The revelation spread rapidly across political circles and news outlets, instantly dominating headlines and triggering an avalanche of speculation about whether Trump's grip on the movement he built was finally starting to sleep. The loyalist in question, a longtime supporter who had stood by Trump during both impeachments and numerous investigations, reportedly expressed frustration over what they called a self-destructive pattern of denial, grievance, and chaos. The remarks were seen as a thinly veiled an attack on Trump's refusal to accept accountability for his legal troubles and campaign stumbles. The post drew both praise and fury online, with MAGA diehards calling it betrayal while moderates within the GOP quietly suggested it was overdue honesty. Behind the scenes, aides scrambled to contain the damage. According to insiders, Trump's communications team drafted multiple responses throughout the night, torn between lashing out publicly or downplaying the defection as insignificant. The dilemma highlighted Trump's ongoing struggle to manage loyalty and dissent within a movement that thrives on absolute devotion to him. Ultimately, the former president refrained from issuing an official statement, a rare moment of restraint that some viewed as tactical while others interpreted it as uncertainty. The rupture could not have come at a worse time. Trump's legal calendar remains packed with court appearances, his fundraising numbers have shown signs of strain, and polling data indicates growing fatigue even among core supporters. The MAGA brand, once synonymous with defiant energy and unwavering unity, now shows signs of internal decay as prominent voices begin to question whether Trump's leadership is sustainable heading into another election cycle. Advisors who spoke anonymously admitted the situation was deeply concerning. One campaign strategist said morale within the team had been deteriorating for weeks. "There's a sense that we're constantly putting out fires," they said. "Every time we think we've regained control of the narrative, something like this happens, and the base starts to fracture." Trump's own reaction, as described by multiple witnesses, was explosive. He reportedly stormed out of a closed-door meeting after being informed of the post, shouting about betrayal and disloyalty. Those present said his anger was directed not only at the defecting ally but also at aides who failed to anticipate the revolt. He felt blindsided, one source said. He thought his inner circle was still fully intact, but that illusion shattered tonight. Meanwhile, conservative media outlets scrambled to interpret the event. Some attempted to frame the defection as overblown or irrelevant, insisting that the MAGA base remained firmly behind Trump. Others, however, openly questioned whether cracks in loyalty signaled a larger realignment within the right-wing populist movement. Commentators noted that Trump's influence has been eroding among independent voters and suburban conservatives who once found his outsider persona appealing but now viewed him as politically toxic. The revolt also comes amid new reports of infighting within Trump's political network. Donors have reportedly begun shifting money toward other Republican figures who might carry the MAGA torch without the baggage of Trump's mounting legal issues. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, despite his strained relationship with Trump, has quietly regained interest among certain conservative circles that see him as a viable successor. The growing tension between Trump's personal brand and the movement's broader ambitions threatens to divide the GOP at a critical juncture. In private strategy calls, campaign aides debated how to spin the fallout. Some urged Trump to double down and rally his base with another fiery rally or online video attacking establishment Republicans and traitors within. Others warn that such aggression could alienate remaining moderates and risk further defections. The internal split mirrors the broader identity crisis within the GOP, as party leaders struggle to balance Trump's populist appeal with the need for long-term political survival. Political analysts described the night as one of the most consequential internal ruptures in Trump's post-presidential career. "This isn't just about one person breaking away," said political historian Mark Fields. "It's about the unraveling of fear-based loyalty. When the first true loyalist defects, it emboldens others to question the myth of invincibility surrounding Trump." Fields noted that similar patterns have preceded declines in other populist movements throughout history. Social media erupted within minutes of the revolt becoming public. Hashtags referencing betrayal, loyalty, and MAGA civil war trended across major platforms. Trump supporters flooded comment sections with anger, calling the defector a turncoat and demanding their expulsion from MAGA circles. Yet a surprising number of conservatives expressed quiet agreement, saying it was time for the movement to evolve beyond blind allegiance. The digital divide reflected a larger ideological fracture that has been simmering beneath the surface for months. Adding to the chaos, several former Trump aides weighed in publicly. Some defended their old boss, while others hinted that the defection might only be the beginning. "People are exhausted," one ex-staffer said. "Working for Trump means living in permanent crisis mode. Eventually, even loyal people burn out." The remark underscored how exhaustion and fear have defined Trump's political machinery, keeping allies loyal through intimidation and dependency rather than shared vision. For Trump, the psychological blow may be more damaging than the political one. Those who know him well say he interprets every act of disloyalty as personal betrayal, often escalating conflicts that could otherwise fade quietly. Insiders described him pacing Mar-a-Lago's hallways late into the night, calling trusted confidants and venting about being stabbed in the back. One associate reportedly told him to let it go and focus on the campaign, but Trump snapped, saying, "They'll pay for this." Meanwhile, Democrats and anti-Trump Republicans seized on the episode as proof that Trump's influence was waning. Progressive commentators mocked the GOP's turmoil, arguing that the MAGA movement was finally collapsing under the weight of its contradictions. "It was never a movement built on principles," one strategist said. "It was built on one man's ego. The moment that ego loses its grip, the whole structure falls apart." Still, Trump remains a formidable political force. Despite setbacks, his rallies continue to draw thousands, and his online reach dwarfs that of most politicians. But even among loyal supporters, fatigue and confusion are growing. Several focus groups conducted in swing states suggest that while Trump's core base remains passionate, it is shrinking, and his negative image among undecided voters continues to deepen. Republican insiders worry that the growing perception of internal chaos could damage the party's broader prospects. One senator privately admitted that the revolt sent shockwaves through everyone in it, and lawmakers were now rethinking their public alignment with Trump. "There's a sense that the dam might finally be cracking," they said. "If one loyalist can break free and survive politically, others might follow." The revolt also highlights Trump's failure to build a sustainable political infrastructure beyond himself. His campaign, heavily reliant on personal branding and grievance-based messaging, has struggled to transition into a disciplined organization capable of managing complex political challenges. The lack of a coherent strategy has created openings for dissent and confusion, eroding the aura of total control that once defined Trumpism. By early morning, Trump's advisors were attempting to pivot the narrative. They scheduled emergency calls with right-wing media outlets to redirect attention toward perceived Democratic scandals and border issues. Yet the damage was done. The night's events dominated news coverage, overshadowing Trump's planned media appearances and fundraising pushes. The story of betrayal and revolt proved far more compelling than his usual talking points. Analysts say the timing could have long-term repercussions. With primaries approaching and legal proceedings looming, every fracture within Trump's circle weakens his claim to inevitability. The more his allies splinter, the harder it becomes to maintain the perception of dominance that fuels his appeal. Political psychologist Elaine Porter described the dynamic as a textbook example of authoritarian fatigue. "Movements built around one personality eventually reach a breaking point," she said. "When followers stop believing that loyalty will be rewarded, disillusionment spreads quickly." In conversations across conservative circles, that disillusionment is increasingly evident. Donors whisper about backup plans, strategists explore post-Trump scenarios, and even some former allies privately admit that the magic is fading. Yet few are willing to say it publicly, fearing the wrath of Trump's still fierce online army. The defection of one high-profile loyalist, however, may have changed that calculus. The taboo of criticizing Trump is slowly eroding. Even so, Trump is expected to strike back. Those familiar with his temperament say a counterattack is inevitable, possibly in the form of a scathing Truth Social post or a fiery rally speech framing himself as the victim of betrayal. Such tactics have worked before, rallying the faithful by turning personal setbacks into populist drama. But with each new controversy, fewer outsiders are willing to play along. By Saturday morning, Trump's team was already drafting talking points emphasizing unity and dismissing the revolt as media heat, but the damage was not so easily undone. The night's events revealed deeper fractures than anyone in his orbit was willing to acknowledge publicly. Even as aides projected confidence, insiders admitted that morale was at an all-time low. It's not about one person, one campaign worker confessed. It's about the fear that this might be the start of something bigger. For years, Trump has defied political gravity, surviving scandals that would have destroyed any other figure. Yet this moment feels different. The revolt of a loyalist is not an external attack, it's an internal reckoning. It exposes the fragility of a movement that depends on fear and loyalty rather than shared purpose. Whether this marks the beginning of Trump's political decline or just another chapter in his chaotic saga remains to be seen. But on this Friday night, for the first time in years, the air around Mar-a-Lago felt uncertain. The fortress of loyalty had cracked, and even Trump's closest confidants could sense it.